Shalom. Welcome back. First and foremost, I want to give all glory, praises, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and salutations to your Akim, pushing this word in sincerity and in truth. Back with another lesson. And this is going to be a lesson dealing with an article I came across. I just want to go through it real quick because we read through the scriptures and it talks about salvation and how the elect are going to be saved. What you see on the screen is mainly what the elect is going to be saved from. All right. So when this time comes, the elect of Israel has to be, gots to be off the planet, off the earth, so you can understand. So it says what the first 24 hours of nuclear war could really look like, right? It says experts outline how global chaos unfolds hour by hour. The first day of nuclear war would not play out like a movie. It would be faster, quieter, and far more calculated than most imagine. Within minutes, global communications would fracture, cities would burn, and entire nations would lose their sense of order. Defense networks built to prevent the unthinkable would instead activate it, locking humanity in a chain of events that no one could control. Scientists and military analysts have modeled the scenario for decades, hoping to understand how fragile civilization truly is. All right, and it's going to go through slide by slide, and this is their predictions, but we all know that the Bible is the ultimate prediction. Right, is the ultimate key. This is what they're saying it would look like, or trying around a roundabout way. It says alarms could sound within seconds across defense networks. The opening movements of a nuclear exchange will begin with radar alerts, satellite flashes. Early warning signs from the U.S., Russia, China are designed to detect missile launches within seconds. And there's a movie that just came out, I believe it's House of Dynamite, where they got a brother playing the president, right? And during this, a missile is shot off, and they have to make certain decisions, right? And the missile in the movie is headed for Chicago, and every defense system that they have fails, and they know within a certain amount of time, once the missile hits, that Chicago is going to get wiped off the map. So check that movie. I believe it's called House of Dynamite. But let me keep reading this. It says Russia, China designed to detect missile launches within seconds, sending automated signals to command centers at stage. No one has yet pressed the retaliatory button, but the world is already holding its breath. And keep in mind, as I read through this, the scriptures tell us that, yes, a nuclear war is going to happen, but we're going to have the chariots and the angels of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai in the midst of that going on also, man, controlling these things, right? Because I think when you read through this, it paints more of a scenario that the earth is basically going to be destroyed. But we all know that that's not it's not true. We're gonna go ahead and just grab it. This is Ecclesiastes 1:4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So the earth is always going to be here, right? So let's keep moving. It says command centers would scramble to verify incoming threats. So it's basically just painting a picture of how nations would respond. It says before retaliation, national leaders would need confirmation that an attack is genuine. False alarms have nearly triggered launches in the past, making verification crucial. And they show you that in the movie. All right, that movie I mentioned. Let's go to number 3. Major cities would vanish under fire within 15 minutes. Right? And the Bible talks about that hour, man. It's about the hour of temptation dealing with the chip, but also how quickly the Lord is going to destroy this place, meaning Mystery Babylon, also known as America. It says a full-scale war erupted. Urban centers would, like Washington, Moscow, Beijing, would be targeted first. Analysis estimated hundreds of missiles could reach the destination within a quarter hour. Detonations would vaporize entire districts and ignite firestorms visible from orbit. As reported by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, the thermal radiation from even a single modern warhead could kill millions instantly. All right? And these things are going to be used, man. But when I go into the scriptures, I'm gonna explain why we have to get off the planet, man. All right? We have to get off the planet. It says electrical grids and satellites would fail almost instantly. High altitude explosions would generate electric magnetic pulses capable of disabling power systems across thousands of miles. Lights would flicker once, then die for good. Communication satellites could be fried by radiation bursts, leaving phones and internet useless. Planes in the air would lose navigation, and financial systems would freeze in chaos. What remains would be an analog radio. So all this modern technology is gonna go poof. It says nuclear fallout was spread across entire regions. Right after the initial detonation, fallout clouds would drift through the atmosphere, carried by winds into rural areas, neighboring countries. Radioactive ash would blanket everything, turning farmlands to toxic deserts. Right, and as the scriptures say, man, this is going to be the world's biggest desert here. Rain would mix with debris, poisoning rivers and lakes. People who survived the initial blast would face radiation sickness. Because if you're here in America, you're going to die. That's the point, man. That's the absolute point. While we here in Mystery Babylon, and we got to get off the earth, man. And not just us, the brothers that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Because this thing is going to affect Mystery Babylon, of course, but the nuclear fallout, how the earth and the winds travel, this poison, this radiation is going to go everywhere. It says governments will lose control faster than expected. It says mass evacuations would turn into impossible escapes, right? Roads leading out of targeted areas would jam within minutes. And they show you that in the movies every time, man. And this place would be an absolute wrap. Military retaliation would escalate far beyond control. The next phase would bring nuclear winter to Earth, right? And the last one was civilization remnants would emerge into a changed world. And I got a little bit curious about, after you keep reading through these, about the soot, the ash, blocking out the sunlight, drop in temperature, all these things is what these scientists are estimating will happen during a full-scale nuclear war. Is why I'm doing this lesson, because it tells you, how and why we're going to be taken up. This is Revelation 21. Actually, let's get this one first. It's Revelation 15:2. It says, and I saw as it were a sea of glass, right, mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, over his image, and over his mark, right, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having harps of the Most High, man. Right, so we're gonna see from the chariots the destruction, looking down, man. All right, the ones that are saved. And when you're going through Revelation, a lot of it, if you don't have the understanding, it's not always in sequential order when reading this book. So we're gonna see, Lord willing, the elect, and I'm part of that number, and the listeners are part of that number. We're gonna see it. This is Revelation 21:1. It says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away." Right? Because we're reading through all that is going to happen from the fallout, the destruction, the lack of crops, the nuclear winter, right? Crops, it says crops would fail, ecosystems would collapse, right? People will face starvation. All these things, man. All these things. It says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. And it's talking about a people before an actual place, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, meaning the elect that are going to be taken up. All right, that's a part of salvation in the scriptures. It's getting off this earth, man. We got to get off this earth, because in this article, man, these things are real scenarios, all right, that can play out when a nuclear war goes down, man. All right, let's keep going. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. Right? So the elect has to get off this earth, man. The elect has to be taken up, because the ramifications of anybody left on this earth when this scenario plays out, this nuclear war plays out, right? Hey, it's gonna be bad news, to say the least. Put it like that. Let's go to Isaiah 26 and 20. It says, Come, my people, enter into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. Right? The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. So, the blood, the judgment, the mayhem that's going to be going on. And like I said, the Lord is going to be in the midst of these missiles, in the midst of this judgment, also destroying people, similar to Sodom and Gomorrah. So you're going to have certain places and get wiped out, man. Not by the nuclear missiles, but by Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Let me see if I missed any of them. But no, that's pretty much the point, right? Is that we're going to have to get off the earth when this thing goes down, man. All right? And we don't know how long we're going to be up in those chariots either. Now, I asked AI to paint me a scenario. How long would it take from, a nuclear war for the earth to return to a so-called normal model? And it says by 10 to 15 years, most models show climate stabilizing enough to reliable seasonal patterns, temperature swings, precipitation in many areas. Agriculture could restart meaningfully with adapted seeds. So this is just they're based on their science, based on what's their models of what would happen after a nuclear war, how long it would take the earth to get back to a place that is inhabitable. So like I said, we must get off the earth when this scenario plays out, man. But that's the point. I want to give all glory, praises, and honors to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Shalom the next time.